sports talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's talk some face of boxing news, which would be Canelo Cinnamon Alvarez, right? Bad boy. What is he now? 3, 4 division champion now, right? 154 champ, 160 champ, 168 champ, 175 champ, 4 division champion yet now. So Canelo Alvarez is a bad boy. But I've been noticing, and I'm pretty sure you have too, because the latest news is Canelo Alvarez is not going to fight at 175 right now at all. He doesn't want to fight there because he says his coach, Reynoso, is talking about he's giving away too many advantages. You know, because he's only about 5'6", 5'7", and so, you know, we go up to 175, you're going to be shorter, your arms are going to be shorter, you know what I mean? And then you're not going to be able to weight bully. You know, you're going to be the same size as these guys. So there's too many advantages, and, you know, they probably have a good point. But that would bring me to, well, then why Kovalev? Why Kovalev instead of Demetrius Andrade at 160, where you were more comfortable for undisputed, right? I'm going to keep bringing that up. So I'm just thinking, so he's ruling out 175 pounds division. And I just want to go through some things. You know, Canelo's ruling out a whole lot of stuff, right? Make sure, you know, there's only a few fighters left. Because first of all, Canelo's not fighting any Mexicans. He said that on several occasions, the last occasion being about 3 weeks ago, he's not fighting any Mexicans, right? It's a bad Mexican at 175 and Gilberto Ramirez, but he's not going to fight him, right? So he's not fighting any Mexicans. There's one at 168, and David Benavidez. You know, we see that he didn't want to try to fight Benavidez with all of the shenanigans that went on with the WBC when he moved up to 168. We don't have to get into it. That is so documented here. You know, you got to watch more than just this video if you want to know that. But the bottom line is, so he's not going to fight any Mexican fighters, right? We saw him, what about 2 years ago? Billy Joe Saunders, when Billy Joe Saunders looked excellent against David Lemieux, right? Looked excellent against David Lemieux. Well, at that point, he had ruled out Billy Joe Saunders, right? Said, hey, man, I ain't fighting him because he's a runner. Him and his team. He's a runner, so he wasn't going to fight Billy Joe Saunders, which now he's going to fight him because there's nothing left. Because we know that he's ruled out Demetrius Andrade, right? Demetrius Andrade, who was with him at 154, he didn't fight him there. With him at 160, could have had an undisputed fight with Canelo Alvarez. Instead, Canelo waited for Kovalev to fight him the 2 divisions higher, and he could have been undisputed at 160, which I think is a travesty, right? But he was able to say that Demetrius Andrade is boring, right? Demetrius Andrade is boring. You're going to say that about another champion, right? And I'm telling you, fighters, certain fighters would not be able to say that and live that down. Wait a minute, you're going to tell me this other champion is boring? So he made all the way champion and he's boring, right? But then you fought Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is the epitome of boring, if you let some people tell it, right? Epitome of boring. So why fight Mayweather? Because he was boring and he was smaller though. See, Andrade is boring and the same size as you in a southpaw and very slick. So he was able to say that and never fight Andrade. So he's out, right? Right? So he's ruled him out. He's ruled out Jamal Charlo. Charlo won him at 154. Him and his brother, twin brother, won him at 154. Couldn't get him. Was his mandatory at 160. And Jamal Charlo is the reason we have this new belt called franchise. Because as it was Canelo's mandatory, Canelo asked for something new, and the WBC obliged him with this franchise title. Now, while I'm at Charlo, Charlo was calling out or asking to fight maybe David Benavidez at 168, and now I hear that he's not going to fight David Benavidez at 168, right? And people try to come at Charlo like he's ducking David Benavidez. And I'm like, I don't give a damn. He don't never have to fight David Benavidez. I don't even care if he called him out and still didn't fight him. Because David Benavidez and Charlo exist because Canelo won't fight neither one of them. And if we get that first, then we can talk about him and Benavidez. And make sure this is clear. When somebody in any sport changes the sport, right? Like changes the sport. Like look at Charles Barkley in basketball. You know, he's got a big backside. Big, you know, he's only 6'5", but he was just huge, about 280. So he's backing people down in basketball now, backing them down, backing them down. So what? They came over 5 seconds. You're going to back them down 5 seconds. You got to get rid of the damn ball. Charles Barkley rule. They open up the lane to make the lane wider because of players like Shaquille O'Neal, or you couldn't dunk because of Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, changing the game. You know, like you go to baseball. You know, they say that we will walk Barry Bonds every damn time. I don't care what happened in baseball. You know, when Barry Bonds was at the height, matter of fact, towards the end of his career, Barry Bonds getting walked who knows how many times. You know, I got to the point where I was like, what do you think about, do you guys think about the fans? Make a new rule here, right? To make sure you can walk the man once a game, right? Intentionally. You can't walk the man, intentionally walk a guy 4 times in the damn game. People are paying money to see him. But anyway, the point is that wasn't rule change, but it's like we're just not pitching to the guy, right? That's when you're awesome. So when Charlo has changed the game, there is a new belt called the franchise belt, and it is because of Jamal Charlo, which his name should be on it. It should be the Charlo belt, right? And Devin Haney be like, oh, could you put my name on there a little bit too? Because it wasn't too much longer after you. But their names need to be on the belt. It's called the Charlo belt. It's because Canelo, I ain't fighting Charlo, and give me something so I don't have to. And that's what that belt is. So Charlo can duck who the hell he want to. And it won't be nobody in his division, somebody way up higher. Somebody Canelo was supposed to be fighting, right? And Canelo didn't. So once everybody says Canelo didn't fight Benavidez, Canelo didn't fight Charlo, and then if these guys fight, and I did a video about it, if Charlo fights Benavidez, it should be only if Canelo is at the end of the rainbow. Canelo has to be in there. So he's not going to fight 170 pounders. He's also ruled out, remember he ruled out Golovkin? Like I ain't fighting Golovkin back in the day, right? Before he fought him the first time. I ain't fighting Golovkin. Ready to throw away the WBC belt because WBC mandated him to fight Golovkin. He said, no, I ain't doing it, right? Canelo will rule out some stuff, right? And you know, and then he was fighting at 155 the whole time, and he was heavier than other people, but now he's not going to fight at 175. Bottom line is this: if Canelo rules out everybody, right, and the media lets him rule out everybody, then you're going to have him only fighting you. Basically, that's why we got to yield to him right now, because he's not going to fight everybody else. He's not fighting, right? He's going to have Billy Joe Saunders wait for him to May, and he's going to have Callum Plant wait for him to September. Reason why? Because if those two guys fight people, like let's say Callum Plant fight Benavidez, Benavidez could possibly win that fight. Canelo don't want that to happen, so that's why Callum Plant ain't gonna fight. If Billy Joe Saunders would have fought Jamal Charlo, which he should have, should have fought. They both in the WBO and they fight, have history and they're supposed to do it. But Billy Joe Saunders was doped and banned for other stuff. So he's been doped, banned, and for other stuff banned, and he comes and still get out the way, Demetrius Andre, with all this. You're not gonna be doped and you ain't doing nothing stupid. Well, I'm still getting an opportunity for you because Canelo has ruled you out. So Canelo's not going to let Billy Joe Saunders fight him either before their May date because, Demetrius Andre could possibly win. So everybody seems to know what's going on with Canelo, but the fact that the media doesn't say it and you got to come in here and hear dudes like me sound like I'm hating Canelo, it's not about that. It's about media, you supposed to be giving this information and you won't. And there's a reason why you won't, right? And that's why people like me going to have to do it. Simple as that. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.